Now, we are seeing a lot change in this event. Now, I know the mainstream media, the deep state, they're going to continually push certain angles because they can't let up. Most of what we are watching has been scripted from the very beginning. And we have certain Hollywood actors, actresses, corrupt politicians, mainstream media, talking heads. They're all following the script that was presented to them because they planned on an event to happen in a certain way. Trump and the Patriots, they knew the playbook of the event. They let the enemy do what they do best. They let them go ahead with it. Why? Because it allowed Trump and the Patriots to do many, many different things during this period of time. And we are now seeing that things are changing. And the question is, why are they changing? And if you also notice that one by one, each exit is being closed off to the deep state operatives, those individuals around the world where they can't get out of a country, they can't cross the border, they can't fly private jets, they can't do a lot of the things that they used to do. Remember, they're being tracked. And I believe we are in a middle of this incredible operation. Now, how do we know that certain things are being done? I do believe the Patriots are giving us messages. They're signaling that certain things are happening. And one of the things that we've seen recently is that the censorship algorithms on Google, YouTube, they seem to be removed. Now, Twitter is seeing a little bit of this, but mostly in Google and YouTube. A lot of people are saying that they are now seeing videos from alternative media show up in suggestion areas. We're also seeing the pictures of, say, Rachel Chandler or search or suggestion terms like Hillary Clinton email, and it fills in scandal. We've never seen this before. Now, Trump, he did make the announcement that he was partnering with Google to build a website to see if you should get tested or not. Now, this doesn't take 1,700 engineers to build. This was a simple website. It's an if-else type of website. The question is, what else did they do? Now, it seemed that it caught Google off guard. Now, the question is this going to last? It seems that by doing this, it allows people to see all the things that were censored once before. Is this a message to the deep state that the Patriots are in full control? We can remove your algorithms to allow people to search, to see censored items. Now think about this. Why is this going to be important? Because when the investigations are concluded and the sealed indictments are unsealed and there are arrests and information comes out, what do people normally do? They normally run to Google and they search. About 70% of the people use Google? Now, if Google was censored during this period of time and they were searching different topics, what would they find? Nothing. If they found nothing while all of this was happening, how do you convince the people? They would look at this and say, oh, look at that. The government is lying. It's not in Google. Why? Because it was hidden from them. If you allow the people to see this information, if they hear it during a trial, during the arrests, and they search it, and let's say a term comes up and says Rachel Chandler, and all of a sudden there's all these pictures of her, and there's stories of her, people start to think logically. They now have information. If they search about Hillary's email scandal or Uranium One, and that pops up, and they start to read information about that, people start to think logically. Now, Jordan Sather, he tweeted out, "Holy trends, Batman. Look at the spike in QAnon searches right now. Some sort of major shift has taken place." And it really has. And he put up a graphic. Interest over time, it has skyrocketed. And people are starting to notice a lot of different searches are coming up. For instance, Douglas Bellamore, he tweeted out Rachel Chandler is good to go on Google Images. Now, when you type in Rachel Chandler, you can see all the images now. Before, you could not. So think about what is going on here. Now, I think this is going to spread to other social media sites. Now, is this permanent? Don't know as of yet, because we know 10 Days of Darkness, that is going to happen, and we're going to see the social media sites try to block everything. Now, does that mean that the Patriots were opening it up, letting everyone see the information, keeping it open, and the deep state was going to come along and try to block it all out when all of this is happening? Is that what Q is talking about when Q is talking about 10 Days of Darkness? It could be. And one thing I wanted to bring up, because a lot of people are asking, well, isn't the internet going to go down? Aren't we going to have electricity? Remember, Q has told us that we are safe with the power grid. And if we go back to post 2615, this was during a question and answer session in December of 2018. It says, Q, should we be prepping for some kind of shutdown? Q said no. Reports of a power grid attack, 6-month prep, should be disregarded. While attacks do occur, we are safeguarded by a black eye, which means there's a system in place which is protecting the power grid. Now remember, the mainstream media and corrupt politicians, they are following the script, and they're trying to push this whole system over the edge. They're trying to make it seem that Trump is racist. I mean, they're using all the tactics that they used before. And they're saying that Trump, he didn't respond in time. He didn't do anything. He was calling it a hoax. He wasn't calling the coronavirus a hoax. He was calling what the mainstream media, what the Dems were doing, a hoax. Two different things. And Elizabeth Harrington, she tweeted out the following. This is false. President Trump did not have a slow start. He had a travel warning for Wuhan, January 6th. CDC activated emergency ops, January 21st. Shut off travel from China on January 31st. Remember the Dems at that time? They were giving us different tweets that shutting the borders is not a good thing. You just don't want the illegal immigrants coming in. This is not good. This is racist. This is what they were tweeting out at the time. But if you look at every country today, what have they done? They shut the borders. Actually, they're following what he did. Why are Democrats using China communist talking points? Because what are they trying to protect? They're trying to protect the deep state. The deep state operation is in China. Now, I'm not saying all the Chinese people. I'm not saying it's the leaders. Remember, each country has the central bank, the deep state, the bad guys in the country. And this is who we are talking about. Now, very interestingly, we had a company called Visual Capitalist put up a graphic of history of pandemics going all the way back to like 165 to 180 AD. And if you look at this, they brought it all the way up to the present. Coronavirus is just a blip on the timeline. So let's go back in time here. If we go back to Ebola, which is between 2014 and 2016, 11,300 people were affected. If we go back 2009 to 2010, swine flu, 200,000 people. If we go back to 2002 to 2003, 770. If we go all the way back to 1968 to 1970, Hong Kong flu, 1 million people. Asian flu from 1957 to 1958, 1.1 million. HIV AIDS, 1981 to now, 25 to 35 million people affected. If we go to Spanish flu, 1918 to 1919, I should say, 40 to 50 million people. Yellow fever, late 1800s, 100,000 to 150,000 people. Right now, this is just a blip on this timeline. But look what is happening with this. With all the closures and everything, it doesn't even make sense. Something else is going on, and we know what's going on. There's an operation happening right now. Now, like I said, there are many individuals that are following a script. And Lisa Crowley, she tweeted out the following. What's up with celebrities who have self-quarantined posting odd pics of Corona brand typewriters? Hanks pic posted on Twitter at 1717 on March 17th. Who packs an old typewriter when traveling? Who even still uses typewriters? Weird. So there's two pictures, one of Tom Hanks, one of Madonna. They both have Corona typewriters. Now remember, Tom Hanks is in Australia. Why would he travel with a Corona typewriter? And why did he post this on 1717, March 17th? Is this a message? This has to do with Q, because we know the 17th letter of the alphabet is Q. And I do believe the message is that they're losing the battle on this. It is not working. We also have Madonna, who tweeted out that she's using a Corona typewriter to write Dear Diary. So when you look at this, something doesn't make sense. It looks like it's all scripted. And then we have Hillary Clinton. She tweeted out the following: the president is turning to a racist rhetoric to distract from his failures to take the coronavirus seriously early on, make tests widely available, and adequately prepare the country for a period of crisis. Now, she's trying to drum up this racist rhetoric that Trump is pointing out that it's the China virus. Now, remember, there's German measles, the Spanish flu, and so on and so forth. When you say China, it is not the people, it is the territory. That's where it originated. But I do believe there's another reason why Trump is doing this. If you notice, everyone is no longer looking at Russia. Everyone is looking at China now. And I do believe he wants to keep this up for a specific reason. And I do believe Hillary Clinton and the mainstream media, they're trying to get Trump and the people to look away from China. And Trump continually brings it up, and I think the mainstream media is not winning the battle on this frontier. Now, very interestingly, Hillary Clinton also tweeted out the following: Congress needs to act to make voting by mail the norm going forward, with specifics outlined by election expert Mark Elias below to make it accessible for all. Now, why does she want it all done by mail? So they can manipulate it. You can see the plan. You can see what they're trying to do here. Remember, there's many different agendas associated with this. First of all, they're trying to weaken Trump with the economy. This is why the market's coming down. They're trying to show that his economy is not strong. He's not helping the people. He's not doing what he needs to do. They're trying to weaken him. We said this from the beginning. They're going to try to weaken him as much as they possibly can. They're also going to try to manipulate the elections because they know they can't win against him. So a weakened president and manipulating the elections, they might have the ability to beat him. Bring in Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, remove Biden. They think they have a chance. Now, do I think they have a chance? No, because the Patriots, they know the playbook. They know exactly what is going on. And it seems throughout all of this, Trump and the Patriots, they're bringing the country together to fight a common enemy. There's no more sides. Even the mainstream media is slowly coming to praise Trump. Lisa Crowley tweeted this out: the tide is turning. And she gave some examples. Joe Scarborough tells viewers to do everything to ensure this president succeeds. Newsweek, California's Democratic governor, praises Trump's response to coronavirus on cruise ship. Every single thing he said, they followed through on. Then we have CNN's Dana Bash praises Trump's message to Americans. Cuomo praises Trump's coronavirus response. His team is on it. They're all coming together. This is the first stage of bringing a divided country together. Now, very interestingly, we know that there are certain corrupt politicians. We know there are certain organizations like the WHO, the UN, where they're all working with these corrupt politicians. And Blue Sky kind of puts all this together. And this is what Blue Sky tweeted out. Meet the Director General of World Health Organization, who severely overstated the fatality rate of the coronavirus, leading to the greatest global panic in history. He nominates DiCaprio, Fonda, and Greta in fighting. This is the chief of the World Health Organization who declared the pandemic. The WHO is partnered with the UN. And he shows this individual, with certain top corrupt individuals. One of them is John Kerry. We have Podesta. We have Mike Bloomberg. We even have the Clinton Foundation that has partnered with WHO and other organizations. And if we go back to post 1220, this is April 21st, 2018, it says HIV/AIDS, Clinton Health Access Initiative, Clinton Foundation conflicts of interest. Clinton Health Access Initiative discounted pharmaceuticals to disrupt abroad. Pharma Alliance, HRC, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, protect domestic high prices, domestic equals payday, which they made the high prices, they got paid for it, and their job was done. And then we have Paul Sperry, who tweeted this out, developing, China pressured the World Health Organization to play down the seriousness of COVID-19 in January, and WHO has praised China's response while steering blame from it. Why? China's WHO contributions have grown by 52% since 2014 to 86 million, and China's influence has grown over the World Health Organization. And remember, there was a reason for this. There's corrupt individuals in all these countries. Remember, China was slated to be where the deep state, the central banks, were going to have their base of operation. That is no longer the case. Everything is being stripped away from China. They're going to be the loser when all this is said and done, because all the countries around the world, they're going to look at the supply chains, they're going to look at manufacturing, they're going to look at their companies, they're going to say, you know something? We need to get them out of here because this can never happen again. This is how you strip down a country that was built up over many, many years in a snap of a finger. And that is exactly what is going to happen. And China is going to be made weaker. The U.S. is going to be made stronger. Now, we see that the National Guard, their deployments had quadrupled in the 4 days since Trump declared a national emergency. They have deployed about 1,560 personnel across half the country in a movement to help besiege the healthcare worker deal with the influx of coronavirus patients. The Air and Army National Guard are working in 22 states right now. And we need to remember that the National Guard has always been there during outbreaks. Since the Guard's establishment in 1636, members have responded to outbreaks of smallpox, Spanish flu, yellow fever, cholera, hoof and mouth disease, typhus, and so on. And throughout the whole years, the National Guard has always been there. And we need to remember, Q has told us that Trump has the ability to control the National Guard if he needs to. And we might see this actually happen. Now, very interestingly, Canada and the United States, they decided to close their borders. Trump tweeted out the following: "We will be, by mutual consent, temporarily closing our northern border with Canada to non-essential traffic. Trade will not be affected. Details to follow." And if you really think about this, by shutting down travel between different countries, shutting down everything, the patriots are closing the exits one by one worldwide. Not just here in this country, but worldwide. And we know that the deep state, they are being robbed of having false flags. Since everyone is being kept in groups of less than 10 people, people are staying home, businesses are closing, schools are closing, colleges are closing, we have airports, they're still open right now, but movie theaters and concerts and sporting, all being closed down. So they don't have the deep state targets anymore. Doesn't mean they're not going to try. And the reason why I bring this story up, because it's very, very interesting. There was a shooting in Omaha at a grocery store, the Hy-Vee. And the reason why I bring this up is because this happened near 180th and Q Street. Now, was this a message to Trump, the Patriots, to Q? It might be. Because remember, Q always told us that future proves past. We always have more than we know. And I believe that some of the posts that Q was giving us in the past, in 2018, in 2019, actually had to do with future events. I'll give you an example. Since this happened, if we go back to post 3113, this is March 18th, 2019. It says, what occurred the last time a countdown was presented? A false flag. Do you believe in coincidences? Never interfere with an enemy. Ammunition is hard to come by. It's just strange that this latest shooting happened near Q Street. And it just happens to be that a year ago, Q was telling us about a false flag almost to the day. Now, the other day, we went back in time, and this was post 963, where we talked about Red Castle, Green Castle. And I know in the past it had to do with the Army Corps of Engineers building the wall. But we also brought it up where during this period of time, Red Castle, Green Castle is the Army Corps of Engineers, which is going to help certain states. And this post was in March 23rd, 2018. And we are getting a confirmation that the Army Corps of Engineers, they're going to New York to assist. Listen to what Governor Cuomo says.
More than just belief, he has acted on it, Rachel. I spoke to the Secretary of Defense today. I got a call from the White House team late last night, early this morning. I have the Army Corps of Engineers coming in here tomorrow. So I believe he's doing what he has to do, and I respect him for it.
And as you can see, this fits into the exact timeline that we're in right now. And we might see many other states activate the Army Corps of Engineers. And in this post, it says clock activated, stage _ 5x5. Why? So it looks like everything now is set. Now, something else happened that is very interesting. Ireland's Prime Minister, Leo Varadkar, he was speaking to the people, and he said something which is unbelievable. He said, "This is the calm before the storm." Take a listen to what he said.
This is the calm before the storm, before the surge. And when it comes, and it will come, never will so many ask so much of so few.
Now, this is very interesting because he just visited the White House. He just met with President Trump. And Trump said this is the calm before the storm when he was in front of the reporters. And they asked him, what is the storm? And now we have him repeating that this is the calm before the storm, and the storm surge is going to hit. Is this the signal? Maybe. Now, very interestingly, I went back to posts that are happening on each and every one of these days, and it seems like they are definitely matching up. Now, this is post 956. This is March 18, 2018, and it says panic mode, enjoy the show. We are now seeing the deep state players, those who are following the script, they are sending out messages that they're in panic mode. Think about the Corona typewriter, the date and time that Hanks put that out there. Think about Obama's messages. Think about Clinton's messages. I don't believe that it's going the way they thought it was going to go. I think they thought they were in charge in the beginning, but I think their entire operation is falling apart. And if we go to post 957, this is March 18, 2018, it says, why are trips allowed? Whitelist. Because they're tracking these individuals. If you shut down travel and you have a few amount of people traveling, tracking is much, much easier. Now, what's very interesting is that the travel ban is preventing ultra wealthy from leaving on private jets. Now, the world's ultra rich, they're looking to escape all of this. And the private jet companies, they are turning away people, even though the wealthy are throwing a lot of money at them, because the private jet companies, they are under the same exact rules and regulations as the airlines. So it seems that they're having a problem moving around. And it seems that Trump and the Patriots, they are tracking all of this. Now, I want to go to post 31, this is 16, all the way to post 3122. Now, back then, this is March 18th, Q gave us pictures of individuals, Clapper, Yates, Valerie Jarrett. We have Brennan, Comey, McCabe. Now, back then, just gave us all these pictures. Is Q trying to tell us that these people are on deck? It could be. It's just very strange that this is all happening at the same time. And then we have Trump, who tweeted out the following. He said, I want all Americans to understand we are at war with an invisible enemy. He didn't say we're at war with a virus. He didn't say we're at war with a China virus, an invisible enemy. But the enemy is no match for the spirit and resolve of the American people. It cannot overcome the dedication of our doctors, nurses, and scientists, and it cannot beat the love, patriotism, and determination of our citizens. Strong and united, we will prevail. And I do believe what the deep state, what their plan was, they were trying to create chaos. They were trying to bring the economy down. They were trying to have people storm the markets, create chaos, have Trump lose control of the situation. And what we see right now is that Trump, cool, calm, collected, he is working very, very quickly. He is making deals with many of the suppliers. We are now seeing shipments, thanks to the truckers, who are now trucking in all the supplies that everyone needs. What they expected is not happening. The Patriots are in total control. And I do believe this is setting up the next part of the operation. And as we move